So, I got to see Dragon Ball Superhero, and for what I gotta say, it's absolutely really good. It's basically fan service, but it's fan service that is actually done right, in my opinion. With with the action being basically awesome, like always, as Dragon Ball is basically known for. It's great action. It's great action and some of its great stories, and basically, yeah, brilliant storytelling and great art from Akira Toriyama. And basically, yeah, I was very hyped up for this movie when it first heard announced, and rediscovering my love for Dragon Ball Z this year and later watching this movie for the first time, it was still pretty awesome. I mean, yeah, I did watch Super Broly a bit, but then again, I kind of, well, yeah. And I rewatched this again, and it was absolutely really wonderful. And then I saw Dragon Ball Superhero, which it was by far amazing, brilliantly well directed, and the animation is very good. The animation does look really nice, and it does look awesome. It does look really good. The cell shading type animation is absolutely awesome. Even though that there are some people that have problems with the animation style, but I will admit the animation style was absolutely pretty amazing. I did absolutely love the animation style. And another thing what I really like about are basically the characters themselves, mainly Gohan and Piccolo. Now, Gohan basically now being more like this smart scientist and all that, as as he's reduced now, but he's still like the he's still the Gohan that we all know and love from the earlier days of Dragon Ball Z. Even though that Dragon Ball Super kind of completely ruined his character, as he basically is kind of a softie now and doesn't really like fighting and hasn't really fought for about a while now, which that pretty much sucks. Although he did mention that he has trained a little bit, but not too much, as he's focused more on his research and everything like that. But yeah. Anyway, you're probably wondering, what's this movie about? Basically, basically the Red Ribbon is rising yet again. And anyway, this movie is basically about the Red Ribbon rising again, and basically with two new androids coming up made by Dr. Hero, and some things are about to happen. And it's up to Piccolo to basically find out more about the Red Ribbon's new plan, and of course the new project called Cell Max. And basically, yeah, overall, I do really like this film. I thought that this movie was absolutely amazing, even though that it was a little fan servicey, but it was fan service that was done right. Something that the Star Wars sequel trilogy had some issues with fan service when it comes to that. With the Star Wars sequel trilogy, basically had some issues with some fan service. I mean, Episode 7 was like A New Hope. Episode 8 tries to be like The Empire Strikes Back. It ended up being like Attack of the Clones instead. And Episode 9 was the weakest, a lot more disappointed than. A lot more disappointed than The Last Jedi. Well, at least with The Last Jedi, it does try something new to it with its story. In Rise of Skywalker, however, it feels more like fan fiction uh, rather than like a great rather than a proper way to tell a story. But even though it was an alright conclusion to the Skywalker saga, it was actually a great conclusion to Skywalker saga, and doesn't really lift on a cliffhanger that much, like most other films do, or basically kind of like Spider-Man 3 or something like that. But anyway, back to the movie. This movie basically has a lot of fun with making a bunch of references from things that happen in the original Dragon Ball series and in DBZ and DBZ Kai, and so on and so forth. And yeah, basically, it's a lot more better than what I expected from Dragon Ball. If you are a Dragon Ball fan, um, basically what I really like about this movie are basically the new characters like Dr. Hetero and Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. Basically, one of my favorite characters. I did not expect to like these characters too much, as I didn't really know what to expect from these characters. Dr. Hetero, I think that he was a really awesome character, and I really like about how he basically designed these androids and his fascination for superheroes, and wants to create these androids for the purpose of good. He's not like your typical ordinary villain. He just wants to he just only wants the funding from the research from the Red Ribbon Army in order to make these androids and programs them to do good, even though that basically they were being tricked, mainly Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 were basically being tricked to work for the Red Ribbon Army, mainly because they're evil, and we already know about their past. They did a really great job with the recap from things that happened back from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Z Kai, and also showing about the Cell Saga, some recaps of the Cell Saga. Which, fun fact, there were some issues with animating with Cell because Cell it has some dots, and yeah, there were some issues with that with Cell, mainly because of how he has dots and that he was too hard to animate. But yeah, there were some animation glitches for those flashback sequences here and there, but hey, they are still pretty good and they still look awesome. The animation style for this movie is pretty cool, mixing it with 2D and 3D animation, making it cel shading animation, and it still looks pretty cool. I know that there were some people that kind of had flaws with the animation, but I thought that the animation does look really nice. It does look amazing. Not perfect, but it does look really amazing though. And another thing, what I would really say are basically um, now, I really wish that we would have gotten more screen time with Goku and Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta are still awesome. They are still badasses. They are still amazing, even though that they don't really appear on screen too often. They still do really give. They still they still do really give the best performances, and they're still the same characters that we all know and love. And I also really like seeing Broly again after Super Broly, and I also really like seeing Chilai and that other guy. I forgot his name after the events of Super Broly, and I gotta say, those three characters from Super Broly are doing fine. Wow, I definitely really hope to see more of Broly in the near future, and definitely so far. Anyway, yeah, I was but with the other characters, like we have Piccolo, who is basically one of the most awesome characters ever, and I also really like about how they did a bunch of callbacks to some of his badass moments from DBZ, from the original Dragon Ball series, like King Piccolo, obviously, but you know he's not King Piccolo. I mean, yeah, it's so weird origin now. For those of you who do not know, basically Goku fought a King Piccolo, fought the Demon King known as King Piccolo, and King Piccolo will later give birth to Piccolo, though the one that we all know from the one that we all know throughout the franchise. I mean, yeah, it it's a little weird, I know, because yeah, but you know, just just don't think about it too much. But yeah, I also really like about how they did some other callbacks, like with Piccolo training Gohan, Piccolo being that really great teacher, father, and son to Gohan, and Gohan is now finally back as a badass character and is not like trying to be a secondary side character like he was in Dragon Ball Super, or like he was in some of the Dragon and the other previous Dragon Ball films like Battle of Gods, which is one of my other favorite Dragon Ball Z films out there, and one of my favorite anime films out there in general, including Super Broly. But yeah. Anyway, this film looks really amazing. The action is overall pretty good. The action is just solid, and the cinematography is overall really good. The visual aesthetics are pretty amazing. The action is shot and animated very well, and basically, yeah, I overall really like it. And I also really like the voice acting as well, mainly with the English dubbing voice acting. That is overall pretty. That is overall pretty good. We still have like some of the original cast from DBZ and from DBS reprising their roles as their respective characters, being awesome. Sean Shamel reprising his role as Goku, and Christopher Gavins, I forgot his name. I forgot his last name, but reprising his role as Vegeta and probably Piccolo. I think he voices Piccolo, but I'm not sure. I'm probably confusing with somebody else, but at least that's what I saw from some behind the scenes on YouTube. And basically, yeah. Also, the other actor reprising his role as Gohan, I forgot his name. If you guys know his name, let me know in the comments down below, because yeah, it's been a while to recognize some people's names, some of the voice acting. But yeah, also Monica Rail reprising her role as Bulma, which was pretty awesome. And yeah, and I also really like a bunch of callbacks, like how Piccolo never got his driver's license, which was a reference to an episode in DBZ Kai where uh, he and Goku were taking their driver's test, and yeah, Piccolo kind of failed at it. And then another thing is that Piccolo turned himself giant, like in the original Dragon Ball, series in the World Tournament Saga, um, which is by far which is by far really awesome and just one of the best moments of DB, and one of the best moments that happened in Dragon Ball ever. Just absolutely awesome. And seeing him turning giant was pretty cool. Also, Orange Piccolo. That's kind of a weird name, a weird dumb name for a superhero, but I mean, not weird dumb name for a weird dumb name to a new power that Piccolo has. Yes, Piccolo turns himself into orange, kind of like a Super Saiyan, but of course a little different, not as powerful as Gohan. And Beast Gohan is just pretty awesome. Cell Max was overall just amazing, and the other characters I completely forgot about them a bit, but those villains were absolutely really wonderful and are just well voice acted and just overall really awesome. Dr. Hetero, like I said, he's not like your typical ordinary villain. Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 are just one of the greatest characters I've seen in this movie, and I think that they did a really great job with their characters, basically basing them off Ultraman and probably Kamen Rider. But yeah, they did a really awesome job with their designs and all that. I really like their designs, and overall, they are just one of my favorite characters in the movie and my favorite characters throughout Dragon Ball and in anime in general. Hmm. But yeah, pick. But yeah, Gohan and Piccolo still got that. They still have like those badass ordinary moments like they had in DBZ, and they are still pretty awesome. Just absolutely really wonderful, and I just really love seeing how uh, I just love really seeing about how uh, we about how we see more of Gohan and Piccolo a lot more better than ever. They are just pretty awesome and overall pretty cool. Whis and Lord Beerus are still the same characters that we all know and love, and I absolutely really enjoy them here in this movie. And basically, yeah. Also, Vegeta uh, finally beats Goku at his own game. Vegeta won. Goku lost for the first time. And wow, finally defeating Kakarot at his own game. Well, yeah. But anyway, yeah, overall, just a wonderful film. Um, Brilliant CGI, it's brilliant visuals, great animation, and absolutely wonderful drawings with it. Even though that they're absolutely wonderful flashback scenes that are brilliantly animated as well with the 2D hand-drawn style. Even though that they were used some clips from previous Dragon Ball series, but they did a really great job with it, modernizing it a bit, and basically, yeah, overall, it's just a fun movie and absolutely wonderful. And it's definitely worth your time. I gave Dragon Ball Super 5 stars and a must-watch recommendation. That's basically Dragon Ball Super. What do you guys think about it? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. And of course, I'll see you all in the next video.